defaults to my other page, which we don't want. So this is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. Today we're going to talk about a few things, everybody. We need to get caught up. There's a lot going on, and I needed to get you guys abreast on what's happening with our cases, so y'all can kind of keep them be informed and pray for us, because we're gonna need all the prayers we can get. So let me just first check out and see what's going on while everybody's come on in. Come on down, everybody. Just come on down. I want to make sure this page is working over here, because for some reason or another, it always messes up. And now we got a situation with the doggone this background. I mean, this was a site where everything was working right, and now all of a sudden it's not. So I don't get it, y'all. But we're going to keep it real with Dr. Lil. We're going to talk about a few things today regarding, we know that Jay-Z lost to Buzbee, and this is not to come on and gloat. I am looking for justice. I know you're looking for it too. So this is to come on and say we're thankful that justice is prevailing, and we want you all to keep praying. So that's the reason why I'm on here. I want to talk about Jay-Z. I want to talk about his case with Buzbee and how he lost it and why, and what the judge said, and how it relates to our case, because it does in terms of constitutional things. The judge did say that. I think that's very powerful, very telling, and very needed and necessary, which is one of the reasons why we have new legislation going on, everybody. We have this new legislation we did, and we're got some people around the country that's helping us. It's called Legal Abuse Act, Legal Abuse Prevention Act. Now, the name may change a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it's going to stay the same. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's a draft. So whenever you have a draft, you don't necessarily get the finality, because sometimes you might, this attachment, if you will, it may be a part of the bigger picture. That's what I'm getting at. So let me just sit here and see if I can finish up this real quick, everybody, because there's a lot of stuff. While more of you coming in, thanks for coming in. Please like and share, continue to support. We're going to be talking, as I said a few seconds ago, about a few things, mainly what the judge said in California. As some of you don't know or do know, we have our case against Jay-Z in California dealing with damages. There was a case also in New Jersey with the judges, and I want to confuse everybody, but I want to get that kind of moving. So let's see if I can get back to my place where I need to be. And I'm going to share some screens with you guys for the first thing, and then we can talk about it, because that's what we need to do. We need to talk about it, everybody. We need to embrace what is going on. I'm going to try one more last thing before I jump into this, but come on in. My name is Dr. Lillian Coley. We're going to be talking about the California case, what relates to Buzbee and Jay-Z. Also, there's two other cases in California with myself, Lily Coley, and Ramir Sadaway. Then we have Demory. Demory's going through a lot, everybody. I want you to keep this young woman of God in prayer. I don't know for sure, but I do think that possibly the people who are involved with her case, in terms of following her, surveillancing her, and doing stuff to her all by the hands and the instructions of her mother, might have been similar people to ours. I don't know. And the reason why I'm saying it's similar, because some similar things happened. And then Desiree Perez, from my understanding, lives in New Jersey. And that's exactly where we had our issues at, because I had a couple properties there. I still have one. I was living in one with my godson, Ramir. And in a nutshell, that's what happened. So let me just make sure this is wrong. Okay. Okay. All right, because there's no Facebook on there. So let me see if I can delete this, because this wasn't supposed to be here anyway. Yeah, this is what happens, everybody. You get this extra stuff coming on, and I want to fix it up before I jump into this, because I don't want no distractions. So that's what I'm going to do while I'm sitting here talking to you. We'll use that thing. We're going to go over here. And while everybody's coming in, just come on in, everybody. I'm giving y'all a few seconds here and there to come on in while I'm cleaning up some stuff, because my software that I use for this sometimes goes all over the place, and I don't want it to. So I'm going to fix it before we get into it, and then we'll go from there. I'm almost done. I just want to get in here and check it out, because like I said, I don't like to have stuff a little halfway and shouldn't be here. if it doesn't need to be here. But delete this post, and I'll delete the other one over there later on. There's always extra stuff going on when it shouldn't be. And then I want to double check to make sure we're over here correctly. We are. This is YouTube. I don't know. It's like a little glitch in the program. And I want to make sure it's right so I can dive into what I need to dive into. And it looks like everything is good. All right, so it is. Praise God. All right, so in a nutshell, what I am trying to do is, all right, let me do one more thing. You're not going to do that later because I don't know how that's going to last. I'm going to just go into I'm going to go into the screen I want to go into. But you see how this is cutting over here? It used to be fine. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the light doing it. It might. Yeah, that's what it was. Sometimes the light, see, the light is so important. I learned a lot about the light from Oprah Winfrey. And she was saying how the light does crazy things to your complexion. And it also does things to your clothes with the camera. Light is powerful. That's a sermon. All right, so here we are. I want to share the screen. And the first screen I'm going to share is going to deal with Jay-Z's losing to Buzbee. I know it's all over the internet. And as I said, I'm not gloating. I'm not looking to gloat. I'm not trying to act like I'm gloating. I'm happy that justice was served. And the justice and the judge said the same thing. He said that you can't have victims being victimized by somebody as a bully, so to speak, when they feel like they've been wronged. We have a system in this world, right? So if somebody does do something illegally or wrong towards you, it's a way to handle it maturely through the legal system. And I know sometimes people are caught up in their reputation, but sometimes your reputation preceded you, right? So don't act like that's whatever you want to act like, because that might not always be true. So let me see if I can make this look like on the side of me, because sometimes when I do that, it looks crazy. If you put a photo next to you, it don't always act the way it's supposed to. So let me see if I can be up in the corner, maybe. Be on the side. Okay, I see how this goes. But I'm not really sure how I want to do this because it's weird when you see it later. The Zoom does not give us the great share capability. So I'm going to go up in the corner to be safe. I'm up in the corner, y'all, but y'all can see the screen in front of you that the judge, the last page, and the yellow part is what I am zooming in on. I'm zooming in on the fact that, yes, he lost. He lost this case that he was trying to get against or put towards Buzbee regarding a 13-year-old who made allegations against him and Diddy, saying that she was raped by them, sexually assaulted, and they were going to go through that process. Somehow, from the stories that I read, and I'm not saying everything's right because I don't know for 100%, that he and his people or some people he knew were bullying this young lady during the process before she dropped it, and coming to her home, harassing her, following her parents, her mother, and her father at the gas station, all kinds of stuff, right? So nonetheless, make a long story short, supposedly according to certain reports, she was willing to drop the case if he left her alone. And that's what he said he would do. So she dropped the case with prejudice, meaning she couldn't go back on it. And according to her, she wasn't left alone. Then he comes back. Not only did he not leave her alone, according to her, then he sued both her and Buzbee. So sometimes people, if they reap what they sow, they reap what they sow. Because life is like that. Money, you'll find out, will not get you all you want. It's good to have it. It's good. It's nice to have it, but it's the way you get it, right? And unfortunately, some people don't always get it the good way. And that is a payback. You got to come back and pay back. So I'm going to see if I can put this screen now on the side so y'all can kind of see me too. Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to stop it and then I'm going to reshare it. But y'all get the point. And I'm going to read it because I thought this was powerful for our country. And not just Jay-Z's case. Any case where justice is served. Let me make it clear. Any case where justice is served, you should be ringing the bell of victory. Because our country, and we're going to be celebrating on July 4th, Today, July 1st, we're going to be celebrating how we are our country of the people govern, the people vote, the people do stuff. So when someone tries to buy the system or do something, anything to manipulate the system, because they know they can't get it no other way, that would never be good. So we have people, and we call public figures, that we want them to do right by the whole situation. Let me see, I'm gonna play around with this Zoom a little bit. It acts like it might work. It might, y'all. Let's try it, because I'm gonna find out later when the video is being played. So nonetheless, here we have what we have, y'all. The judge says the Constitution and the constitutional rights cannot thrive where courts become a weapon to invoke silence of fear of litigation, but neither can due process survive when the courthouse doors are slammed and shut in their face of the wrongfully accused. So we have to be careful when we bring a lawsuit and why the lawsuit's there. And sometimes, everybody, they've really been injured. You really have to look at each case by case. And I know there's a lot of people out there ain't doing right. Got it. But there's people who are real live victims. And here this young lady said she was a victim, and then her attorney became a victim because he took her case that she filed through another source. And yeah, we're all worried about a reputation, but it was long before this. You should have been worried about it. Not right now. You're at the end to some degree. So at the end of the day, I just want to publicly thank Mark H. Epstein. He's a judge of the Superior Court in California. Now, myself and Ramir Sadoway has a pending case, unfortunately, against Mr. Carter as well. And it comes out of an action from New Jersey, where the judges there didn't do right, where the Constitution was a problem for them to follow, and the due process, which is why we went after the judges. We pursued the judges because the judges did not sign the court orders, which we obtained. And then all of those fraudulent orders were based on fraud, talked about fraud, and was fraud. It was fraud and all this stuff on multiple levels, which we believe we were victims of. And okay, if we're crazy and don't know what we're talking about, let's fight it out in court. Let's talk about it. But they wouldn't want to talk about it because that's where the due process comes in. Yeah, everybody didn't get due process. That was slammed. That door was slammed. But why? When everybody in this country is entitled to the 14th Amendment, just show me what you got. And we were trying to show them what we had in regard to what we had and how there was fraud that started in our case from the conception. Y'all better listen to me. And here that led all the way up to somebody doing fraudulent things with their attorneys and clerks and judges and all the tangles that we believe. And we're still fighting it out and showing it. And then all of that led to what? Because you wanted us to stop the case, walk away after you made your money, and you wanted to find a way to dig in and suck it to somebody. And the way you did it was to teach me a lesson. How dare you bring in a court case that has about fraud? And the way you thought you could do it and the way you did it caused problems that led to illegal liens on my property. Didn't know it. Nobody told me. So at the end of the day, there is something about doing the right thing. And I just had another piece of documentation that I wanted to share, but you know what? I'm going to share it later because I really don't know if I have what I need, okay? So let me go back to that later. But at any rate, I wanted to come on to talk about the Constitution as related to the judge. I am so glad he said something about that. He said the Constitution and the constitutional rights cannot thrive where the courts become a weapon to invoke the silence of fear of a litigation. You better preach. But neither can due process survive when the courtroom doors are slammed in the face of the wrongfully accused. So if I come to you with somebody putting illegal liens on my property, or even before that, and saying I lost attorney fees based on somebody's misrepresentation, and I don't get a chance to litigate that through due process to see what the end gonna be, that's a problem. And I'm glad this judge understood that. So yeah, Jay-Z has lost the case to Tony Buzbee. We are not gloating about that, but we are thankful that justice was served in that regard, and that the judge understood the difference and the two most important pieces: constitution and due process. Why do people need to be a victim over and over again? Because they want to say the truth, believe the truth, and carry out the truth, because something inside of them wants to heal, and they need what they call reparation, or they want to be restored. They want to be made whole. And it's not just financial. This is about people who you might know, like even in my own family, who died for the Constitution, who worked for the Constitution, who put up the law, and so forth and so on. It's just not something we take lightly. So that's that, everybody. So that was the first thing I wanted to talk about. I already tied in to our California case, and how the California case ties right into Jay-Z's case. Ours is in the district court, and some of you already saw a lot of that around. There are some people covering that story, so do what you do. We're not here to do public opinion, right? I mean, public opinion is important, but the principles is even more important, that we're following the law. I'm more concerned about what's going on in the courtroom with the judge, and making sure he or she is honest and reputable, that they can't be bought, that you're not going to take money off the backs of something is not right to feed your kids, feed yourself, or anybody else, that you have principles, right? You have integrity, and that our system, because you were voted in and placed in there through different mechanisms, will work. That's important. That's more important than somebody's opinion. I don't need people just on my side. It's good to have them. It's good they know what's going on. It's good they support whether they read the documentation or not. But the biggest side is the right side. And the right side is the right side, right? The truth, that's the side. So I wanted to tie the two, let you guys see that, understand that that's important, and that we have to keep holding up the law. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, the law must be upheld. And that's important. So let me stop for a second, because I can talk and talk and talk. I want to see who's out there, what y'all doing, what y'all saying. Let me look at the comments real quick, because I don't see anything right now. I don't know how to get in here and do it. So let me, let's see if I go over here, whether it was to do something. Let's say, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. All right, who is calling me? Hold on, everybody. Let me just pause this. Hello. Yes. Can I call you back in 2 minutes? Just 2 minutes, because we're on live right now. Bye-bye. Oh Lord, this is so much, everybody. All right. So what happened? Did I freeze up? Okay, I don't know what's going on over here. But yeah, sometimes you got to do this when it's live, y'all. I hated to do that, but at the end of the day, it's crazy. There's a lot of things happening. All right, so I think that didn't go through, but I'm just trying to get into my page, because the page tries to leave me sometimes. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, so let me, okay. All right, so no comments, no nothing with that. So everybody's good, right? I mean, you can ask questions. So our main thing was dealing with the Jay-Z situation, and I had put in, let me change this because that was the other prior problem. Oh, so that's what it did. It overtook my that I had in here. It's I had a title, and it wasn't about prayer. It was about Jay-Z loses to Buzbee, and then it was about case updates, and then Demory is still fighting. It was something like this. I don't know what happened to my I got to figure this out because this keeps doing this, and I'm not liking this at all. So let me see if I can take it and put this over at the right place. I don't know if it'll change it and fix it or not. Probably not. It's just a lot of crazy stuff. Okay, it did fix it. All right, so that's a little weird though, y'all. But at any rate, if you have any questions, get in. So we did talk about the Jay-Z thing, loses to Buzbee, and what the judge said in terms of the Constitution, which is a very important. And then Demory Perez Hatley is still fighting against her allegations with her mom. Now, I want to talk about her and I want to tie it in. So her mother, as y'all already know, appears to have some issues with control, right? What appears. And she's suing her daughter, or her daughter's suing her. But Desiree was trying to do stuff illegally, which we believe was from the paperwork with her daughter's husband. And according to the daughter and her documentation, she said, her mother said, I'm a Baker Act you. And y'all saw my videos already on that and supporting her. And we will continue to support her because it's heartbreaking. That story is heartbreaking. It's embarrassing and it's heartbreaking. But the biggest problem is that Desiree is in New Jersey. And the other part is some of the stuff that happened to her daughter is very similar and eerie to ours. Now, I wanted to continue to clear the air about the 4 a.m. What you call it. So let me edit this real quick because this was something I wanted to say before. Let me just update this real quick, y'all, because I had in here police reports that I'm going to show you guys regarding some of the stuff that we went through as it relates to this. So there was a police report, as y'all know, from something that someone came to our home. But let me back up because I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The first part was Demory. Demory Hatley has went through and is going through a battle with her mother. She had to take her mother to court, or is taking her mother to court, based on what she says has happened to her, and her complaint lays it all out, right? So you got to Google her, look at for her on YouTube. She's all over, right? We'll put links in there. That's the first part. The second part is her husband, which is he's very, in my opinion, looks like, or seems like my godson. They're around the same age. They got the same kind of frame. They just look alike. So I look at him and I see my godson, right? And how they try to beat Ramir Satterwhite down. So it's the same thing with her husband. I think from my observation and what I had been seeing in the tabloid, not the tabloids, but the articles, that he wasn't enthusiastic about somebody having money or power, and didn't feel probably comfortable going down the road with his Desiree. That's what it looks like, that she might have offered him something and he might have turned it down because she thinks that everybody's going to be, running down the road looking for something for her. And that's just not the way it is. Some of us don't want to have that kind of lifestyle or be a part of stuff like that because it don't make us feel good about how we're obtaining it. I mean, some people want the whole package, right? They want the integrity and they want the respect for themselves, and they can get it from the community. And I think that's what this young man is about. Nonetheless, that's just my opinion. He was taken to court by Desiree, and it's still not clear why she would be taking him to court. Because why would his business be her business? But in anywho, she has her daughter, as y'all know, Baker Act, or institutionalized by doctors. It looked like lawyers were there, a part of it, and some other institutional people, maybe judges. And they kind of intervened in the middle of nowhere by luring her by a lie to somewhere, saying something about her that was not true. She wasn't on drugs. She wasn't suicidal. All the stuff wasn't true. All for revenge and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. If you try to rescue your daughter, you would have proof that she's been messed up, right? But obviously you don't have any because you're making it up. So at any rate, her case, I want you guys to pay attention. I want you guys to pray. I want you guys to trust God for the justice. And I want her to do the same. And then I see a similarity of her case with her mother doing stuff to her daughter In our case, there was someone that came to my house on several occasions, two that were significant. One was the 4 a.m. time, and I think I told you guys about that. I'm going to show you the police report on that. The 4 a.m. they came in the morning. I slept through it. My godson saw it. I saw it on the camera the next day. Then there was another time that somebody came to my back door. They came to the back door of the house before the gate was put up, and it was two men, and it was in the fall. I don't think it was the same year. It might have been the next year. It could have been. I'm going to just say it was. So I'm going to look at the timelines because it's all written. And they came to the back of the house, everybody. And the one guy said, just like before. And the other one said, it's going to be hard to get in there. That's what I heard. And when I heard it, I was like, what? Now, I'm a workaholic, and I was working at the office in my home, and I could hear it. And I thought maybe it had something to do with my neighbor. So the next day, I went to my neighbor's house, and I said, look, did you have people over your house yesterday talking? He says, no. I said, well, I heard some. He says, no, Lily, it wasn't my house. Just get your gate. Get your gate. So that's what I did. But yes, there was two significant occasions. One was the 4 a.m. when I showed y'all the tracks in the street, on the grass, rather. And the other was 2 men that just showed up in the back in the fall, because I remember the sun was going down quicker. So it was darker at 5. They came like 5 or 6, and it was dark because it was the fall. And they said, he said, just like before, he said, it's going to be hard to get in there. That's what I'm saying. So all of this was documented. But what I'm going to show you today, is the 4 a.m. police report. So the 4 a.m. police report, that way. And this is all being shown. And this is all being said to show you what the judge just said in California, that it should be no fear of litigation. And people intimidate and try to stop. And at the time, this was back in 2018, 19, we didn't know what was going on with this bigger picture now, with all this stuff for some people that's tied up and tangled in this, what they call organized crime, so to speak. We didn't know it was that. This was deep, because we started the journey for New Jersey in 2011 with just a custody of Ramir, which I obtained legally because his mother was sick. She got real sick in that spring of that year. And prior to that, she was doing what she did in Philadelphia. And once she got sick, I took her child through a parental agreement and through legal access through New Jersey in 2011. And then 2012 is when we ran into the problems with the attorney and jurisdiction stuff, blah, blah, blah. But nonetheless, escalating from there to then, at that point, we were, this started from, we believe, misrepresentation in 2012. And then I was owed damages, which they were going to give me. And then they decided to change their mind because they said they didn't want to ever see Wanda and Ramir again. You get your money back for your attorney fees, your damages, your interest, and don't want to see them ever again. Couldn't promise them that. But nonetheless, the different things that happened after that between 2012 and now too, y'all, weird stuff going on. I ain't gonna talk about that right now. But all the things that happened in New Jersey. And one of these things was the 4 a.m. time, and it was also the two people coming up to my home. And then there was other, obviously, things that happened in between that. I'm gonna get into all of it. All of it's been documented in police records. I got 3, 4 police officers in my family. So I had to document. They told me to make sure everything was documented. And they're in New York. One's in Camden, and the rest are in Philly. I have brothers, and I have family members, cousins, are police officers, right? And one of them is definitely in New York. So at any rate, just was trying to get, simple stuff for a baby daddy, but it turned into a lot of crazy stuff, and it moved from a paternity case to a fraud case. And then we've been fighting for justice in that regard, as the judge said, the Constitution and due process. That's the whole argument. It's not about winning or losing. It's about Constitution, due process. Due process, Constitution. When you don't get that, that's a problem. And how you know you got it? They hear your evidence. You're able to hear, fight in court or say, plead your case. Say, this is why I believe the court has this. This is why I believe the court has that. And you show your evidence. When you're not looking at your own evidence, your own state taxes, New Jersey, your own state records, New Jersey, deeds, the court won't look at their own records, their own municipalities' records. Because if you can't get past the first level, the smell test, because nobody wants to, hear the truth. They put their hands in the air. La, 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 la. They don't hear nothing. That's when you have a problem. That's why what the judge did in California, as opposed to what the judges did in New Jersey, is a contrite difference in justice. Why does the case have to be high profile? Why does the case have to be in the open in order to get what's right? The system needs to work. It needs to work, because otherwise there are going to be a lot of problems in this country. People will definitely have problems with it. And people say, well, it has to be something extreme for the judges to get in trouble. It doesn't have to be extreme. As long as if your constitutional rights are violated, that's a problem. They should not be on the bench violating anybody's rights, because they don't want theirs violated, whether they're on the bench or not. Right? So at the end of the day, I wanted to show you all the did I lose it? No, I didn't. Here it is. This is the police report. I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you. Okay, here it is. So this is the police report, and this incident with the 4 a.m. happened in 2018. Now, this is military date. So it's August 1st, 2018, just so you know. And you can look in here and see, basically in a nutshell, what was said. And just so you all can get an idea that the complaint was not just a myth. And my point is being, again, the constitutional rights of individuals and the due process of what happens to people. And I'm thinking, okay, so this happened to us and it escalated. It went from a simple circumstance to this. And now even putting liens on my property. I mean, it's to me, it's mind-boggling, because I'm like thinking, why did it need to go down there? Why did it have to go to that length or to that particular situation in regard to everything? So I'm trying to kind of liken to have the page, and okay, it did have you on the side there. Okay, we'll keep it like that, I guess. But at any rate, this is the police report, and I wanted you guys to see it a little bit better. So I'm going to come out of it and do it like this, and that way you can see it. That's the full-blown one there. And then I'll check while I'm doing that, while you're looking. I'm going to check and see if we have any questions. Thank you all for watching. And this is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I'm in a nutshell, just basically trying to do what I do. Hello, Teresa. It's good to see you. So we're trying to just keep people aware of what's happening and letting them know I'm looking to see if there's any questions for me. Because I know people had questions. We are trying to keep the public informed. As I said, the public opinion is important, but the principles of the Constitution and the court is most important. And that's what we want. And sometimes when you've been through what we've been through and you still see the pieces being put together, I won't say it's disappointing, but it's disappointing because you didn't know it was going to be like this, but you're trusting in God. There is a spiritual component to the destiny that we're going to, and the travel. And we are in traveling zone, if you will. But this is all being said and done so that you all can be informed, and also it can help you, because I know some of you out there are going through stuff too. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But yes, Teresa, she said this looks at certain records when it comes to people who aren't wealthy. Well, I don't know about certain records, but it doesn't really have anything to do with wealth, and it shouldn't. It's more about the right and the wrong. Because if you check every box and do all the things that's required, right, with so-called being with money and having a legal team, what good is it if you're lying? What good is it if you're not telling the truth? I mean, I've seen law firms, and we are attesting to this now, law firms that are out there, and these law firms are part of, I'm telling you, organized crime, some of them. And that's not good, everybody. Having a law firm that possibly looks like it's dealing with sex trafficking, drug trafficking, and all the things their client does and more. And that's pretty much how you are creating your business. And it's just a lot of stuff you guys want to really look into. I'm not saying you got to do a whole lot of research, but you can do some, and some of it's not expensive. So you don't need to have anything sophisticated. I don't. I'm just going to make it plain. But what good is it if you have the sophistication and have the boxes checked, and behind the scenes or what you're doing is all a lie? What good is it if it's not justice? What good is it if you know that the narrative and the foundation is based on something that's not real? So the whole point is whether you have good evidence, bad evidence, a little bit formatted here, none of not formatted here. The bottom line, is it true? Did it happen? Right? Let's keep the main thing, which is to focus on the problem. That's all I'm saying. Just focus on the real deal. Because, I mean, if somebody doesn't have money or don't have a lot of money, they still have their rights. They still might deserve justice, whether they did a certain kind of format or not. All right, I'm not going to go off on a tangent on that, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. So here's Keep It Real with Dr. Lil. I wanted to come on and talk about this just to get with you guys so y'all can see and understand what's going on with us. With the Jay-Z Buzbee case, we know he lost that, and we said we were not gloating, but we were just exploring the fact that justice was served and what the judge said, because what the judge says means a lot. It tells a lot about him, and that he can see right through stuff. Thank you, Lord. And then we talked about Demory and how we got to continue to support her, love her, and hope for the best. And then I did add in how I thought her mother could have been a part of the people that came to my house. I mean, I don't know, since Desiree is in New Jersey and she's a part of this whole arena of the company she works for. And I don't know if they, the stuff that was done and the resources that were done to Demory, as it seems, was all a part of the company. She used those resources, and she might have did other resources outside that. But people do a lot for money. Some people do anything for money. They don't have no integrity when it comes down to money. They just will do anything for money. And the money goes right through their hands, go through their life. They ain't going nowhere. They got it a kind of nasty way. And then also on top of that, and get it a good way. And it just doesn't last because it's not integrity type money, right? But at anywho, we talked about Demory and we talked about the cases. I showed you the police report of the 4 a.m. because somebody actually had gotten the police report from somewhere else, which was fine. And it is online. And I wanted to make sure they understood that we have it too, because we did it. There were many police reports. It wasn't just one or two. And they were all documented. We have them all. And I do think there are some people that have it out there online. Fine, no problem. There's nothing to hide here. And there was a mixture of me, myself, and then also my goddaughter being a part of the witnesses and other people, my neighbors. So my neighbors was the ones who told me certain things. And of course, they gave me affidavits and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad about being able to tell you what I just told you. I'm glad that the justice seems like it's being served. I'm glad and thankful that as we march on and walk towards our destiny in this area of our life, of our lives, we're grateful that God's going to get us to the finish line, because God loves justice. Yes, he does. So here, everybody, I just wanted to check in, everybody, and let you know from the horse's mouth what's going on to the best of my ability. You don't have to read nothing in. You ain't got to go crazy. We understand all of this is allegations and people believe what they believe, and we have it inside of our information. But I am a living witness to stuff, and I'm going to give you what I believe that I've been through. And I'm not trying to put fault on anybody. I'm just trying to tell my story because nobody can tell it like I can tell it, right? So be encouraged, everybody. Be encouraged that your journey is not over. Your walk is not over. You're going to get there. You just got to believe that you're supposed to do and go where you're supposed to do and go. And if you believe that, just go. Go, go, go. And do it with excellence, do it with precision, and do it with dignity and respect for yourself. Respecting yourself is first. That's how you make the next step. The decisions we make in life is based on how we feel about us. If you don't have that certain thing in you, then you got to work on you. You got to do things to build you up spiritually, right? So you can have good character and respect. You ain't got to go down low to get anything. Nothing. Ask me how I know. Because when you serve a good God, the God of the universe, not God of money, not the God of sex, not the God of food, not the God of all these things that can be. Serve the God of the universe and let him show you what he can do for you and what he can give you, and you can have respect and integrity and dignity for yourself. You can do it because he can. Yes, you can. All right, everybody. All right. I'm so glad we were here today talking and conversing, and be encouraged. God loves you. We love you. And we look forward to talking with you soon. We know that in due season, all things work together for good. All things work together for good. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And God's going to do a great thing in our lives so that we can get to that other side. All right, everybody. Love you, love you, love you. And be encouraged as we signing out for now on Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. And we look forward to talking with you soon so that we can partake in a conversation, a healthy conversation, and do what we believe we need to do to help each other in the community and the place and the city that we're in, so we can empower each other, empower our Constitution and everything about it. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon. I got to see how I'm supposed to end this. Oh, I remember now. I've been on some other ones, but I haven't been on this one. But thank you all so